Okay, now for the next part of including histograms, the shape of your, the distribution of your data to your report. You want to have first the definition of what the distribution shape is, what a histogram is, and put the various steps, that you're going to use to calculate histograms. And so that goes in the definitions section. But now we're going to go to the results section, where you're going to actually put the histograms of your data in that section. So the third section of the report is results. So we can scroll down the outline and just click on results. Okay, so here we are in the results section. Okay, it's at a heading level 1. So that kind of puts it to the left in our outline. The next level down in our outline is heading level 2. Okay, and that's where we've got our data table. And so the data table would come first. This just kind of, shows what our data looks like. And so the histograms will come next. So we're going to go to the end of our data table explanation. And this is where we're going to put the histogram part of our data here in this results section. So I am going to present in my results histograms of height and speed. So I'm going to say distribution shape of height, speed of roller coasters. And I'm going to make this a heading style of 2. Okay, so now you can see distribution shape of height and speed roller coasters now shows up in our outline, and it's in the same level as the data table there. All right, so now what I'm going to say is I'm going to say, in order to visualize the shape of the distribution of data, histograms were created according to the 5-step process described in part 2 definitions. All right. So, I don't have to repeat, all 5 steps for each histogram that I'm going to show below. I can just say, I followed the steps that I defined earlier in the definition section. So that's why we did that first. Okay. Now let's see here. So now let's go ahead and insert. I'm going to insert 2 of my histograms. Now I've got 4 total, but let me go ahead and insert them, and you'll kind of see why I'm going to set them up the way that I'm going to set them up. So I'm going to have 2 histograms side by side. So I want to insert a table that's 2 wide and 2 high, like that. And let's see, in this one, take a look here. I want my height, say speed, height. All right, with 8 classes, that's going to go here. And all right, looks like I've already made it 3 wide. That was kind of convenient. And then the other one is, let's see, I should have height with 16 classes here. All right. So these are 2 histograms, both of the height data, but this is a histogram of the height data using 8 classes. okay, 8 bars. And this is a histogram of the height data with 16 bars or 16 classes. So I'm going to call this one, put a caption down here and say this is figure B, a histogram of the height in feet of the height and one variable k equal 8 and width equal to 52. That's all I got to say. This one I'm going to call figure E. This is a histogram of the height in feet. Let's see, the height random variable of k equals 16. So there were 16 classes, each with a width of 26. And that's all I need to do. This is the only thing I need to describe this figure. And this is all I need to describe that one. So I think something that I'll add here at the top is, see, in order to visualize the shape of the distribution data, histograms were created according to the 5-step process described. Okay, wait. Yeah. And then I'll say figures D and E are histograms of the height variable with 8 and 16 classes, respectively. All right. So there's my 2 histograms side by side with captions down below. And this is going, what I'm adding is I'm adding histograms of height. And now I want to add my histograms of speed that I made. So next I'm going to say histograms of speed with both 8 and 16 places are shown in figures, so F and G respectively. And so now I'm going to create or insert a new table that is too wide and too tall. And now I want speed with 8 classes here. And I want speed with 16 classes there. Okay. And this is going to be, I think I said figure F and G. So figure F, histogram of the speed, variable with k equals 8 and width equal to 19. That's all I need for that one. And this is going to be figure G. So histogram of the speed variable with 16 classes and width of 10. All right, that's all we need to do in the results section. So all you're doing is you're just putting the histograms in there and giving a caption about what that histogram is. We're not going to talk about any patterns in these histograms yet. We'll do the talking about the histograms later in the discussion section where we talk about it. The results section, you're just basically putting graphs of data. That's essentially all you're doing. Graphs and maybe calculations. You start looking for patterns in your data, in your discussion. Okay. So hopefully also you see the importance now of creating tables and putting pictures inside the cells of a table, because it helps them look very uniform, vertically as well as horizontally. When you're creating a word processing document like this. It also allows you to keep captions directly underneath the figure, and keep those separated. All right. And if you needed to, copy this whole thing, you can just grab the whole table and you can move it around. Okay. I haven't had much luck actually moving it around, but what I would do is kind of put your cursor above the table and hold down the mouse button and choose the line below the table as well, and then do cut and paste. I would do that for moving tables around, especially in Microsoft Word. I have squirrely results if I try grabbing things like that and moving them around that way. But kind of explore that yourself. But what I wanted to do is to give you some guidance, some explanation, and maybe kind of witness my thought process as I was going through and adding the definition of a histogram and then putting the results of my histograms in these two sections.